1 mile. Now, when those first responders rushed into the World Trade Center towers in New York City, they had to go from flight 1, or the first floor, all the way up to the 110th floor. Now, I can't have you climb 110 stories because, you know, that took a real person to really do that, and we actually got to go learn stuff today, so we wouldn't have that time. I have no doubt in my mind that you couldn't do it, though. But we walked that amount to represent the number of steps it took them to get from the first floor to the 110th floor. So within our 4 laps, we walked, depending on your height, we walked anywhere between 2,200 steps and maybe 2,300 to 2,400 steps. So we did that to symbolize and recognize that number of steps that the first responders took in order to run into those buildings that were on fire and to save the people that they were able to save. And unfortunately, quite a few of those first responders gave their life saving another, okay? So like I said, with September 11th, it is a very, very emotional day for our country. And just talking with you and talking with some of the adults, it is kind of hard for you to get a full grasp of September 11th because it happened quite a few years before you were born, okay? But what I really want to see is your loved ones at home. If you have questions about it, I highly recommend you ask your loved ones at home, whether it be your mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, whoever it may be, ask them to tell you. Because I will talk to you about how some people disagreed with the way our country does things. And in order to show us that they disagreed, they carried out what we call terrorist attacks. The World Trade Center in New York City were 2 gigantic towers that were hit with airplanes. The Pentagon, which houses our Department of Defense, which is in control of our military, it was attacked. But the first victory of September 11th happened in Pennsylvania. There was a 4th airplane that was said to have been trying to make a round and go back to Washington, D.C. in order to hurt more Americans. Well, people on the plane got word by loved ones through their cell phones and told them what was happening in New York, what was happening in D.C. And those people on that plane said, we're not going to allow that to happen. So the first victory of our war on terrorism took place on Flight 93 in Pennsylvania when the passengers stormed the cockpit and took the plane back, and they did not allow that plane to reach D.C. and hurt anybody else. So along with the World Trade Center and the Pentagon, we reflect on the people that lost their lives on that plane, because even though they're not here to grieve with their loved ones or to be with their loved ones, they had that first victory and allowed no one else to feel the pain that they themselves and countless others had to that morning.